happens when success no longer feels like enough and you're called to lead with purpose instead of achievement? Today's guest knows that journey well. Welcome to Her Next Chapter, the show that helps women prepare for, lead through, and thrive in life's transitions. I'm Karen Maurer, financial advisor with Krilogy here in St. Louis. And today we're exploring what it means to step into purpose-driven leadership and navigate that messy middle with confidence. I'm thrilled to introduce Jennifer Bardot, founder and president of Grit Community, a 6-time international bestseller, now 7-time international bestseller, a keynote speaker, and a leadership advocate. Jennifer's story of releasing the old identity and building a new beginning, a platform for women's voices, is truly inspiring. And she's here to share practical wisdom for navigating life's transitions with clarity and resilience. Jennifer, you have mentioned that your biggest transition was moving from achievement to a purpose-driven leadership. What prompted that? What sparked that transition for you?
Yes, let me take you back to about 2020. It was during COVID. I had 3 kids at home, and every year I always challenged myself to a new professional or personal development program. So I entered into Women in Leadership through Focus St. Louis. And on that journey, I entered and I didn't even see myself as a leader at the time. And after coming out of that program during COVID, everything was virtual. I had the motivation to publish my first book and acknowledge that everything that I had achieved in the past was to give myself affirmation that I was enough. And it was through accolades and degrees and certificates and anything that I could do. And I finally realized what I need to do is some internal work to actually believe in myself.
Really? And how did that leadership program help with that?
It was transformative because I was able to reflect on my insecurities, see other women's insecurities in high-level roles, and learn from incredible women who have, taken on CEO roles of construction industries. And for me, being in a family of construction for 92 years, seeing a woman in that role was really powerful.
And you realize that those women have insecurities as well, and that they're nervous or anxious or doing things for the first time. What do you think really pushes you forward? You mentioned that a new program every year, and that you were doing it maybe for other reasons than what you're doing it for now.
I think it came down to actually seeing that I was capable, seeing that I was a leader, and I didn't need accolades. I just needed to believe in myself. And then to just take that leap of faith and just move forward.
And so how did you determine that a book was the first thing you wanted to do in a new leadership role?
So I have 2 masters in counseling and secondary education counseling, private practice therapy. So I love helping people. And I knew my gift is helping people, 1, build community, and 2, reflect on their journey, to be their cheerleader, to show that they've gone through hard things. So I thought, well, what's a cool way to create hope in an economy that's completely in an uncertain state? Pulling together women who are incredible leaders, unveil their hard stories to help others rise. So I'm a recruiter by nature. So I recruited the women that I thought would have the most powerful stories in the very beginning. And I launched a book with a lady who I admired, was a leader as well, and I didn't have the courage to do it myself. And we pulled together 40 women. And then after doing that, I realized, hey, I can do this on myself. Stop doubting yourself. So I challenged myself to do 4 more, releasing 1 every 5 months, which if you're a publisher, you'll see that that's a challenge within itself.
Oh, absolutely.
I think most maybe launch 1 book, or the first one took me 9 months. And then to challenge myself to recruit another 40 women every 5 months to have 5 books released in a year and a half was what my goal was.
That's insane.
I hit it.
You've got high goals, but you achieve them. I've known you for a while now, and you always hit those goals, and those books come out when they're supposed to, and somehow you always make it work. I think for a lot of people that know you or that are part of the Grit community, we're all mystified by how many balls you're juggling. What would you say is kind of your key skill or attribute that allows you to do that?
I think I've understood my gifts as well as my weaknesses. And one of my strengths is being extremely stubborn and always pushing through the no. And it's only a no now, it's not a no forever.
Mhm.
And then just being focused, even though like it's hard to stay focused, and making sure each day I'm taking actions in the direction in which I'm trying to achieve my goals. So I think for me, it was really coming down to understanding that I'm a driver and I'm very stubborn, but then also realizing sometimes I'm a driver and I push myself beyond, well beyond my comfort zone. So learning how to kind of pull back, but making sure that I'm on target for my goals.
Right.
So
I love that. And I love that you've taken being stubborn as a positive attribute.
yeah.
How do I take what sometimes society might label as a negative and turn that into a positive and work that in your favor? I think a lot of times, first of all, it takes a lot of courage to look within and see who you are and identify those strengths and weaknesses. But then once you do, okay, now what am I going to do with it? And how am I going to be a purpose-driven leader and create something? I love in these anthologies that you've created, and I had the honor of writing a chapter in one of the books. I found that I didn't even think about the impact this was going to have on the reader. You forced me to reflect. You forced me to say, to review my life and to say, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to think about? And I think when you just relax and let the journey go where it leads, that's kind of, I don't know, God's way of having you reflect on a certain part of your life. And it changed how I view things. It changed how people view me. And I think that it's so powerful, not only for the reader, but for the author as well.
I think it's an extremely transformative experience. And that's why I always encourage these incredible leaders in our community to share their hard stories, because every time we share our story, we become that much stronger because we're able to identify our scars and they're no longer weaknesses, it's strength.
Right.
So I love guiding my authors through that journey, because not only is it impactful for the readers that are reading it, but it's impactful for the authors that are contributing and doing the work. Because it's an intensive reflection process. It's like doing a journal every day, but you're doing a whole life story of your whole timeline in 1,500 words.
Are going to read it.
And it's empowering because you're able to pick up the pen and tell the story in your voice, in your words, and in your perspective.
Right. And I that was amazing because I thought, there's going to be an editor that's going to change everything. So it doesn't, I can just write it in my voice. And then that's what ended up getting published. So that too was empowering because it said, the way I wrote it was actually enough to go in print on those books. So I think those have been wonderful.
And those who do need the accolades, like I used to, like saying that you are an international bestseller is pretty cool. Like your story is filed with the Library of Congress. And I love that from the perspective of the legacy, because there was an author in my last book that she published her story and she ended up passing before it was actually released. So I dedicated the last book to her, and having her family reach out to me and saying, thank you for encouraging my mom to do this. It was just really powerful. It was really cool. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you started this journey of transformation yourself and now guide other women going through transformation, how did you prepare for that, both financially and emotionally, or did you not?
I think I knew how much these books were going to cost, and trying to be mindful of all of the expenses that were going to take, away from, because at the time it was a side hustle. So truly trying to figure out how to self-finance something that I was so passionate about. I utilized my corporate salary for almost the first 2 years when I first founded Grit, because I was so passionate about it. I didn't want to charge any of the guest ticket prices. I didn't want to put anybody out, never have a financial restriction, because I know who I was when I was at Eaton Theological Seminary and I needed these resources, but at the time I couldn't afford it. So I was really passionate about it. And I just looked at, what is my giving threshold in regards to what I would donate to nonprofits that I'm passionate about, and why not start my own and help other women rise who need these resources. So I think I had to just do some introspection to see what I could actually financially afford. And then it transferred into my entire career and purpose.
Wow. That's amazing. And then being brave enough to leave the corporate world and really
terrifying
shift those Grit books into, now it's not just a donation for you. Now it's a business. business.
Yes.
And you've created it so that it could be a profitable business to you.
Yes.
And I think you find then that now people are probably knocking on your door to be in one of the books.
They are, and it's really cool. So the next book's going to be on mental fortitude, but just from coming from a purposeful, driven leadership role of paying it forward, I think allowed me to, I don't know, develop my own brand, have people kind of see what I was doing and get on board.
Mhm.
And that's what I needed, because I knew it was going to take more than just me to tell these stories, to
Right.
create grit in our community, because we're still in a society of loneliness. It's an epidemic
Ugh.
by the Surgeon General, and it's killing more people than cancer and cigarettes. So it's like, if there was something that I could do, I know I couldn't take it to the, internationally by myself, but slowly but surely, by making steps in the right direction, I've been able to publish 7 books. I have a
Wow.
radio show. I have 5 courses that were certified at the University of California. I'm going to be able to infuse grit into our youth. I'm talking with universities to allow our, new, fresh 18-year-olds to get certificates on the topic of grit. And I mean, I think when you're on the right path, the money will come. And I'm not going to say that it's always been easy, because I've always had pitfalls. But when you reach into your network and they see what you're doing and they see that that's your purpose and that's your passion,
Mhm.
people come out and they support you. And I'm grateful for that.
And I use the same phrase, do what you love and the money will come.
Yes.
Don't have that, drive what you're doing.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners and viewers, what GRIT stands for.
So I ended up trademarking. Yeah, I ended up trademarking the acronym GRIT. So I own that word, which is pretty cool.
That's really
So it stands for growth, resilience, intention, tenacity. And it transposed into like that word after publishing my first book, which was called Owning Your Grit. And then that's when I decided to do the Deconstructing Grit collection, which was the 4 books that I published every 5 months, because it was powerful to have that first book released, because it was a success overnight. I mean, grassroots effort. I never published a book. I founded a publishing company after my boys' names, MDC Press.
Oh.
And I realized that not only was it powerful to share our stories of grit, but I had to teach it. So in each of these
And live
books,
it.
and live it. I've been living grit since I was in the 3rd grade. So to be able to help empower others to see that their weaknesses or their differences aren't insecurities, it's their purpose, and it's a gift, really drove me to publishing these stories, trademarking the acronym GRIT, and everything else kind of fell into place.
Well, and I love that you've expanded it so far beyond just the authors of the book. And as you mentioned, with your program with the youth and getting into those schools and colleges and tackling these young women at a younger age and teaching them those skills, because that's the key. You've got that preparation now.
Yeah.
So when you're going through any type of life transition, your parents passing away, career changes, divorce, marital changes, religious experiences, they've got something to fall back on and something to guide them through those changes and through what we call that messy middle.
Yeah.
If you had somebody that you're working with and they're stuck in that messy middle, what kind of advice would you have for them? Give them a tip to
look at your support system. See who you're around, because what do they say? The closest people you're around, you become.
Yeah.
So if you want change, you have to dig deep and figure out what that's going to look like. And I knew that I had a gift coming from a family of strong women. My mom was a top financial, in the car industry, F&I producer. And my grandma was caring and empathetic and was able to raise 3 kids with no husband and no high school education.
Wow.
So I had strong women in my life, and I realized that not everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to figure out a way to create a supportive community for folks that don't have a supportive community at home to grow, thrive, and be able to identify their gifts, strengths, and share them. So that's essentially why GRIT started, because it's one thing to share your story and to heal, but there's a lot of people that don't even have the courage to share their stories.
Yeah.
So we need to create a supportive community where they can still thrive and grow. And if we're not growing, we're dying. So we need to constantly be growing.
Right. Oh, I love that. Well, and there's nothing more important than a safe space where you can be your authentic self.
Right.
And, I find myself, I look forward to the emails that say what's coming up, because I want to go to that event. I want to be in that space. And sometimes you participate, sometimes you take something back, and just even the opportunity to see other women come into their own is so powerful.
And I loved witnessing you be one of my speakers at my gala at River City. That was really powerful. I love helping people kind of step out of their comfort zone where they never even thought they would have an opportunity. Like
Right.
when we're able to go into this to sound studio and record our chapter, our book's in Audible now. Like
Right.
I love
And
doing
I'd
these
never done
things
anything
because
like
it builds
that.
courage, it builds confidence. And every time we step into that unknown, we become that much stronger. And I love,
Yeah.
getting
Nudging people along.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and also just giving them the opportunity.
Right.
I mean, I look a couple years ago and look at what I was doing then versus what I'm doing now. And you're just in a different environment and you
Right.
get the pleasure of being around different people and learning more from their experiences. And that's even kind of how I came into doing this show. It was through you, of course. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But also it was just focusing on how much these transitions are such a significant part of people's
Yes.
lives. And if they don't have that support and if they don't understand the process that you have to say goodbye to the old, you have
Mhm.
to say goodbye to your corporate
Yes.
life, and you step into that unknown, messy middle. But to your point, that's where you thrive the most.
Yeah.
And now you've got a new beginning.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting to watch people grow and thrive, and also to help them move through that messy middle. When you have a significant other who has any type of medical issue and your focus all of a sudden becomes that,
Mhm.
well, hopefully you've prepared in other ways so that you don't have to juggle too many balls at one time. You can really
Absolutely.
just focus on caring for that person, focus on that career transition, focus on moving the children from one school to another,
Mhm.
and helping people have that financial and emotional preparation is so important.
And remembering to take care of yourself, because it's really hard to give from an empty cup. And that's why I love cheering these leaders on who are making an impact, and they're doing things behind closed doors that others don't even know what they're doing, but they're making an impact.
How do
So-
you take care of yourself? Do you schedule it on a particular day or
Oh,
time?
well, here recently, I've been very intentional in making sure no matter what time it is during the day, I'm working out for at least 30 minutes. So that's a little bit of my self-reflection time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's hard just when we're, juggling being a mom, being a business owner, trying to figure out what's next. And
Right.
I just try to really listen to myself and no longer push myself too much far beyond my,
Right.
comfort zone. I like pushing myself beyond my comfort zone because it encourages me to grow and evolve. But just being mindful of my bandwidth. And then I've recently just been celebrating, a little bit more than I've ever done before
Oh, that's
in
great.
regards to like, hey, it's okay to take a day off.
Right.
You don't have to work
Yes,
7
it
days a
is.
week, So yeah.
No, I love that. I was talking to somebody yesterday, just in a casual conversation, and she said on her days off from what she does, those are the days where she makes sure she plans a massage or a
Yeah.
manicure. Because I find that those things, like I got my hair cut today, and it's a chore because I don't have time,
Right.
or I have other things I would rather do, and I have to readjust and say, wait a minute, I need to just relax, be present in the moment, and enjoy, just these self-care types of things.
Absolutely. I think another thing that I've always done is I'm always intentional with my words and my time. I guard my time, and I guard my time even more so now than I've ever done in the past, just because in order to stay focused for me to achieve my goals and for me to be healthy and be a mom,
Right.
it's really important. So I never do happy hours when I have my boys.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And it's very empowering to say no, to be
exactly.
able to say no.
Right.
And I don't know that I'm quite there yet. I'm not good at that, but I need to start practicing.
Yeah.
I need to start. And I have somebody that holds me accountable for that. And I had another opportunity and I took advantage of it and said, yes, I'd be happy to. And this person that is, I will call my accountability partner, and he said, wait a minute, you told me you weren't going to take anything more on. You said no. And
Yeah.
I said, but wait, this is really exciting and this
Right.
is really fun. And he said, but you said you needed to say no.
Mhm.
So that is empowering, but yet still outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah. I've
And I
been
imagine
practicing.
You've got to do it.
I've been practicing boundaries here recently more than I've ever had in the past. And I think it's helpful because it allows you to understand how much energy you actually have
Mhm.
and where you want to focus it. So
makes sense
yeah, the
too.
boundaries have been very helpful.
Yeah. And that again is just a way of preparing yourself for when something lands on your plate and it's more than what you had been doing before.
Right.
But, I always look at women that are running the household, running their business, caring for their family, and then a parent passes away. And now
Right.
all of a sudden they've got the responsibility of
Mhm.
making sure the estate gets administered properly, the house gets sold, the house gets cleaned out,
Right.
and everything goes in the right direction. That's a huge responsibility
Yes.
that takes a tremendous amount of time that wasn't on their plate before.
Hmm.
But if they've learned how to say no, then they can say no to the other things because they now have to take this on as well.
And I've realized learning how to delegate, not always being in control, is really helpful in regards to being able to navigate everything, when you're juggling multiple plates.
Right.
You asked me earlier, how do I do all these things? It's like, I do all these things. I never give myself a choice otherwise, because I know it's what I want, but I also have to make sure that I'm spending my time efficiently, but I'm learning how to delegate so then I can, be able to publish books, lead an association, have courses, lead a radio show. I'm doing a reality TV show. And it's like, what's next? I'm doing more keynotes. So it's like learning how to understand how much energy I have and where I want to funnel it. And it's so funny, in order to keep my ADHD in line, I actually have it's an app and it's called Notes, and it's like Jen's Focus. So that's how I stay focused. So I know hey, this is a derailment. This isn't going to feed into any of your your goals for 2026.
Right.
So it helps me get right in back in alignment. And then I put those boundaries in place and I delegate.
I always say with clients, from a financial perspective, does that choice put you one step closer to your goal or two steps back?
Yep.
And I think it applies to everything.
Mhm.
And I love that you have that visual in front of you to say, this is what I committed to. This is where I'm going. I want to achieve these things. So this is how I have to do it.
Yeah. It's like, is it in alignment? Yes, no. It's just that easy.
And I love, as you're talking about all of this, I keep thinking, what a great inspiration for your boys, for them to see mom as a rock star and what mom's handling and tackling. And even though they might not understand the true scope of it at this age, because they're still young, but as they get older and they really understand what goes into achieving everything that you have achieved, I feel like they're just going to be, and probably are, your biggest fans. And they're just going to learn so much, and they're going to be wonderful husbands to strong women. And just
they better be. That's not question. I definitely want them to respect women and appreciate strong women. But yeah, that brings me to tears, because there's been times when I've published books and my middle has actually taken a copy of the book, and then my other one's filming and was like, buy my mom's book. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. And it pulls on my heartstrings. Yeah. And what's really cool is one of the book launches, I think it was actually, it was Living Well with Grit. My 6th book. Dylan actually said, hey mom, can I skip school? Cause I want to go to your book launch party. I want to see what you do. And I was like, sure, come to work with mom. And he's like, man, you have such a great job. It's so cool. But I know I was trying to get them to actually come to my gala this year, because I thought that'd be pretty powerful to be able to see the 12 adults who were able to get Grit Awards, but the 4 youth who were able to get Grit Awards too, because I think that peer-to-peer learning is really important. So if other kids can see kids doing cool things, they'll be inspired to go do cool things. So you pulled on my heartstrings. I love that.
Wow.
So
good. Well, if someone wants to get involved in the Grit community, what's the best way for them to get more information and reach out to you?
So our website is mygritcommunity.com, and you can learn about the different events taking place. We have an expo that's free to the community on May 18th. It's on Monday at Maryville University. You can reserve your ticket now. We also have opportunities for you to reserve a booth if you wanted to showcase your business. My gala is going to be on November 13th, River City Casino. You can get your tickets now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. And there's sponsorship opportunities. And then if you wanted to join Grit Community, there's 3 different subscription platforms. And then if you just wanted to come to one of my luncheons, that's on my Eventbrite page, and you can actually get access to that on the website as well. But you don't have to be a member to come to the luncheon. You can buy those a la carte. So there's plenty of ways to get involved. And even if you're tiptoeing and you don't know if you want to go to an event, just reach out to me and I can toss you an opportunity if you wanted to attend one of our workshops to just get a taste.
Oh, that's a great idea. And you can reach out to me as well, because I've been a member
for
a few years. And those luncheons are great because they're just so collaborative. And you usually have a panel. So you're getting information from several different women. and just really great with learning.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jen. I appreciate you being here, and it's been great information that you've shared. Please remember that transitions are a part of life. Preparing for them, working through them, and thriving in your next chapter. Use your support system, create a plan, and prepare for these transitions. I'm Karen Maurer, and this is Her Next Chapter.